Something quite catastrophic happened to the Mark III yesterday.
Hello YouTube fan.
Yeah, the big one's still not making a noise.
No.
Don't say that.
What you got?
Nothing. I am baffled. Moment of truth.
She's gonna start. She's got it.
I'll let you see Maude's new paint job. Fiesta. Zetec Turbo engine, ultimate sleeper. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Marcus Hayes, and as I mentioned at the end of the last video, I've now received all the clothing from the supplier for my recent pre-order. Everyone should have received their parcels by the time this video goes live, but I want to send a massive thanks out to everyone who did jump on the pre-order. I really appreciate the support. Been really busy last night and this morning wrapping everything up. Just look at it all. Loads of people purchasing more than one garment. Got bits going all around the world. Yeah, this is amazing. At the end of the last video, I also mentioned that I did order a few extras of the more popular colours and sizes, which may still be available. So to all you guys that have been messaging me saying that you missed the pre-order, head over to my website at marcushayesuk.com and place your orders before everything runs out. All the garments feature super high quality embroidery. And one thing I didn't mention when I announced the pre-order is that I've paid extra to have these cool printed neck labels added. Everything gets bagged and tagged, trying to make this as legit as possible. As you can see, I've invested in various different sized cardboard boxes to make sure that everything gets to you guys in good condition. So yeah, now I need to get all these parcels loaded into the back of my dad's Mark III, and I really hope they all fit. Now, tomorrow evening, I'm going back down to see Gary to hopefully get the Zetec Turbo engine fired up in his 100E. And at the weekend, I'm going to be able to show you the new paint job on Maude, my Mk2 Escort. Hello, right, into the next day, and I've just been collected from work by my beautiful girlfriend Kat in her plastic Fiesta that she likes to call Winston. Now you may be wondering why Kat has had to pick me up from work, seeing as I now have the use of my dad's Mark III Escort whilst Maude, my Mk2 Escort, is out of action. Well, something quite catastrophic happened to the Mark III yesterday, which I'll explain in the next video. Right now we're heading back down to see Gary, and we're going to spend a little bit more time on his Zetec Turbo powered 100E. Alright, so we're at Gary's workshop for the third time in the last couple of weeks.
Hello YouTube fan.
Gary is fitting his new fuel pump. Those of you that watched the last video where I came down here to see Gary will remember that we didn't seem to be getting any noise or anything from the fuel pump, although it seemed that we were getting power to the pump. So Gary ordered a new pump. In fact, he ordered it there and then. If we just jump into the cockpit of the 100E, where I've already got the laptop turned on and I've got it connected to Gary's ME221 ECU. I'll just wait for Gary to finish wiring up the new fuel pump, and fingers crossed when we stick the electrics on the car, the pump will actually make a noise this time. All right, ready?
Yeah.
Which one was that?
The little one.
Yeah, the big one's still not making a noise?
No.
Don't say that. Yeah, so last time we used a bulb and a bulb holder to check that the pump was getting power, so we'll double check that again. Ready?
Yeah.
The bulb not coming on?
Yeah, look.
Oh, it is, yeah?
But when that stops, this goes out.
Right. So I don't know if it's obviously wired up in such a way, that's like a fuel priming thing. So basically after a while, this pump turns off, I assume, you know, when the swirl pot's full, but then that also cuts the power to this pump. Yeah, see on my car, I've got an integral swirl pot in my tank, so I don't have a twin pump setup, so I don't have any experience with these twin pump setups. But the way I understand it, you just have the low pressure pump that fills the swirl pot up, and then the high pressure pump should pump it from the swirl pot to the rail. If I go to input and output setup on the mighty software for the ME221, you do have the fuel pump connected to pin 1 on the ECU. So that might mean that it's wired up so that the ECU controls the fuel pump. So maybe that initial pump we're getting, and then it clicks off, is like a priming thing, you know what I mean? While I'm in front of the laptop, I'm going to change the settings that I changed last time that I realise now I should put back. See, I mentioned last time that I thought this trigger offset being 90 degrees was wrong, but I'm guessing that this car has been mapped with it at 90 degrees, so the ignition mapping would have been adjusted to suit. So I'm going to put that back to 90 degrees, how it was. Turn the power back on. Right, we're connected. Now I can change this to 90 degrees. And also, as I mentioned in the last video, I'm going to leave the cam pattern to none. Right, something I've just thought of is that some people will wire up their fuel pump to a switch, an oil pressure switch basically, which will make the fuel pump cut off if you lose oil pressure, like in a crash or if the engine goes bang. And when I look at Gary's block where the oil pressure switch would go, there's what looks like a plumbing fitting, which I'm guessing will be something to do with your turbo lubrication maybe. I don't know if you've got an oil pressure gauge, a mechanical one, but there does look to be an electrical switch on there. Now obviously that switch could just be wired up to a low oil pressure light on the dash, but maybe it's been wired up, you know, in the way that I just explained. All right, so we're gonna try and wire up that high pressure pump directly to the battery and see what happens then. Let's take the earth off this one again, like we did last time, and then we'll wire directly to that one from the battery again. Oh, does that pull out, does it?
Oh, it matters.
Oh yeah, cool.
Right.
Okay.
Now we've eliminated that.
Yeah.
You ready, are you?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What you got?
Nothing. We've just wired that pump directly to the battery. You know, we're missing out the earth of the car, literally from the negative pin directly to the negative terminal of the battery, and the positive pin directly to the positive pin of the battery, and the pump ain't making a noise. Like, to me, that don't make sense. Like, if I'm missing something, please put it in the comments, because I am baffled. Gary said he's actually going to be local to my garage tomorrow, so I'm actually tempted to just fit Gary's new pump to Esther and, yeah, just see if it works. Because at the moment, if what I'm thinking is right, the only possibility is that Gary's got 2 dead pumps, but that's highly unlikely. The car was running and then he parked it up because he had the issue with his cylinder head. So it's a bit of a coincidence that while the car was sitting, his old pump has failed, and it'd be even more of a coincidence if he's just bought a brand new pump and that has come dead when it was delivered. I am baffled, to be honest. Right, I've just confirmed the theory that I had. I'll just try and explain it. So you've got the positive wire, which was going to the high pressure pump here, and then I'm going to hook up the other side of this bulb holder just to earth. I'm using the earth point of the other pump. Now, if Gary puts the key on,
ready?
Yeah, the light goes on, and then it cuts off. You know, that was your priming circuit. And now if Gary turns the engine over, yeah, you'll see that the bulb comes back on. So therefore, when it's actually all working properly, you put the key on, which in theory should power up both pumps and fill the fuel rail with fuel. And then after that point, the fuel pump will only power on when you've got oil pressure. And that basically means that if you have a crash or you blow your engine up, the fuel pump will cut out automatically. So at the moment, it's looking like Gary has got a dead high pressure pump. But yeah, as I say, we'll find out that tomorrow. Hello, right, it's the next day and I'm back down Gary's workshop with Gary and his 100E, and Rob's here.
And pump number 3.
Pump number 3. So Rob actually had a brand new fuel pump in his garage, exactly the same as the one that Gary had bought, from a different company though, to be fair. And this is the one that Rob bought. We tested this on a battery at my garage, and as expected, it made a noise as soon as you connect it to the battery. So it's looking like the pump that Gary bought was a dud, which is really unlucky, unless there's something going on with Gary's wiring that's killing the pumps. But anyway, we're gonna hook this pump up to Gary's 100E and cross our fingers. I've disconnected the earth to the low pressure lift pump because this is very loud compared to the high pressure one. And if, as I say, something is going on that's killing the pumps, I want to be able to hear the new pump do something before it dies. And yeah, with this one on, you can't hear nothing.
Yeah, ready?
Yeah. Yeah, stop.
We got a leak.
We've got a leak. Pump's making some noise, so we'll tighten up all the fittings properly and then hook the lift pump back up. And yeah, should be able to get this started today, Gary. All right, so a low pressure pump is now hooked back up. And we've now got fuel coming out of the rail where this was still disconnected. So the rail is definitely getting fuel. We're getting somewhere, boys.
About time.
So yeah, I suppose we'll throw the plugs back in the engine. The coil pack's already wired up. All right, so while Gary's putting the plugs in, Rob's just going to turn the key on and we'll see if we got some fuel pressure on the regulator, and we have. Sweet. Moment of truth.
She's gonna start. She's got it. She's got it. It works.
Sucking in air from somewhere.
Yeah.
Is that what that whistling noise is?
Yeah.
Well, it fired. We're further along than we was. It's got to be a gasket. So the conclusion is, it starts and runs, which is good. Definitely got some sort of whistling coming from probably one of the gaskets. So Gary's going to replace the gaskets. And yeah, it will probably need a remap, because obviously the map that's on the ME221 ECU at the moment was for the ST170 setup. But it runs.
It does.
Into another new day, and today I will be showing you Maude's new paint job. But right now, Wes is very kindly going to bring the Mark III from my garage here at home over to my other garage, because that's where all my tools are, and that's where I can hopefully deal with the issue that the Mark III has. It's certainly nothing that can't be dealt with, and the Mark III will definitely be back on the road pretty soon. Yeah, Wes actually works for a company called Nationwide Vehicle Transport, and they're based in Thame in Oxford. So yeah, if you're in that area and you need any vehicle recovery, definitely get in touch with them. I'll leave a link to their Instagram in the description of this video. Massive thanks, Wes, for transporting the Mark III. I was going to just drive it, but with the issue, which I haven't mentioned yet, yeah, it's probably best that it's getting transported. So yeah, I really appreciate it, man.
Definitely.
And just like that, the Mark III is home safely. Massive thanks again, Wes.
No problem, mate.
Nice one, man. All right, so I'm going to tuck the Mark III away in her garage, and then I'll let you see Maude's new paint job. Well, there she is, people. Maude, my Maude Mk2 Escort in her new colour, signal blue, which I've applied with a roller. Definitely looks a bit ropey if you get close enough, but it's definitely good enough for what I plan to do with the car, which is basically thrash her every day as a daily and hopefully get her out to some drift days. Now, the last time you saw this car on the channel, I'd primered up to the swage lines. Basically, I'd primered everything that I could without ripping the windows out. And then, you know, I came round a couple of times on my breaks from work and took all the windows out and did some grinding away of any rust that I didn't get around to doing before when I went around the car and de-rusted it and coated it in red oxide. After that, I gave the whole car a key with 80 grit, which is way too rough to be keying a car up with, really, but because I'm rolling the paint on, I knew that the scratches would be buried. Then the car got a full degrease, and then I rolled on a couple of coats of the primer, and then I gave it a little tickle with 80 grit sandpaper again, and then another degrease and a tack rag, and then it's been given 2 coats of the signal blue. Now, the boot lid is in one of the other garages that is painted, and you can see that one of the wings is on the bonnet, the other wing is over here, and that's painted as well. I haven't done the bonnet yet. I will give the bonnet a really rough quick paint job. Those who've been watching my videos a while remember that this bonnet does have some holes in it and some rusty sort of dents there. That was when the alternator fan flung off. So yeah, I'm not going to fuss too much with the bonnet, and I actually do plan to get a fiberglass bonnet for this car, but I will keep the metal one to fit when I take her to drift days. I'm also planning on getting a set of fiberglass wings and a fiberglass boot lid, but again, I'll keep the metal ones for any drifting that I do. Now I'm planning to paint the door handles, the wing mirrors and the bumpers black, and I've actually made a start on the wing mirrors here. These have been given a key, again with 80 grit, which is a bit rough, but I just want the paint to stick. I don't want it to flake off. And yeah, these were given a degrease, and I've just given them a coat of etch primer, and then I'm going to give them a coat of this high build primer that my good friend Rob gave to me. And it's worth noting actually that Rob did help me out with the wings for this car. He basically took them into his workshop and bare metaled them, and then he basically used rust converter on the whole wings, and then he gave them a coat of bar coat, and then I was able to roll on my primer and then roll on my signal blue. The wings are brand new, and when I went round Maude getting rid of all the rust before, I did notice that underneath the coating that the brand new wings come in, there was quite a lot of surface rust. So yeah, massive thanks to Rob for giving me a hand with that. Now this scuttle grille here, I decided not to paint blue. This was quite rusty, to be honest, so I think I'm going to actually paint this a satin black or maybe gloss black, just to, you know, protect from rust. You know, this matte paint, in my experience, doesn't really hold the rust back as good. So yeah, that's going to be black, but that actually might end up being quite a nice feature, and it will tie in with the mirrors and the door handles and stuff. One thing I am going to have to do at some point, and I always plan to do it anyway, to be honest, is black, you know, these green parts that you can see from the original metallic green colour. Obviously blue and green looks really silly against each other, but yeah, I do plan to send this car back to CLUMPFAB to get some welding done on the floors and stuff. I've noticed a little bit of rust on the inner seal down here, and yeah, this driver's side floor pan has definitely got some rust. And in fact, when Chris at CLUMPFAB welded in this splash guard on this side, he actually done it in such a way so that it would be easy for him to cut the floors out next time that the car does go to him. I'm also thinking about getting him to fit a larger gearbox tunnel while he's at it. So yeah, once he's finished doing whatever needs doing inside, I'm gonna basically rattle can the interior parts black, which should look a lot better than the green. I'm also thinking about doing the wheels black. That'll be, you know, another bodge up job with spray cans. Definitely going to take quite a lot of work to clean these and prep them beforehand. But yeah, I do think that, you know, all the black parts against this signal blue is actually going to look really cool. I do have some ideas for a couple of other changes on Maude, which I'll reveal later on if and when I do decide to do them. One of which loads of you have been screaming out for, well, years, basically, ever since I've been doing these videos. But yeah, for now, I'm pretty happy with how she's come out. Definitely going to look a lot better on the videos, and, you know, the thumbnails will be a bit more eye-catching than they were when she was matte black. To be honest, I was happy with her being matte black. You know, it's a bit stealthy. But yeah, as I say, it's going to look a lot better on the videos now that she's a brighter colour. Another thing I decided to do is give the pillars that go in the doors a quick coat of black. I've only bothered doing the outside parts, and I've only gone, you know, as far down as you can actually see. Half of this is sort of hidden inside the door. So yeah, that will definitely improve the overall look once I do put the car back together. Right, so I need to pack up now, put the cars away, and then I'm going to call my beautiful girlfriend Kat to come and pick me up. But I am going to pass through and see my friend Rob on the way home, and we'll see what he's been up to. All right, so I'm at Rob's workshop. He's actually had to pop out for a minute, but he's been working his magic on this Mk2 Fiesta. Now, those of you who watched the last video will recognise this car. It belongs to Wes, who kindly brought the Mk3 home for me earlier on. It's got a 2-litre Zetec Turbo engine in the bay. Pretty quick car, running on these Cosy wheels as well. And yeah, he's built it as an ultimate sleeper, and he's got a forged 2-litre Zetec engine going in at some point in the future. But yeah, Rob's been doing some paint work. He's painted all down this side, the 2 doors and the front wing, I believe. He's done a bit on the bumper as well, which is still on the trestle. And I think this side has had the 2 doors done. Oh, and Rob also painted the wing mirrors. This was already quite a clean car, but now Rob's been at it, it's even more mint. Does need a wash and stuff, but yeah, ignore the dust. Sleeper. It's still got the stock interior in there, although he has got a aftermarket OMP steering wheel.
I need a piece welded on there.
Oh yeah? Oh, that's nothing.
See
though,
that inside?
needs a plate in there.
Yeah.
So I'll ask my mate Ant to do that.
For an old Fiesta though, that's nothing. Like, they're normally all rotten, aren't they?
The underneath of the car and everything's mint. It's not worth doing a conversion on a car that's rotten.
No.
Next is get the wheels refurbished. The paint's come off the caps, but these wheels are like a chromey sort of finish.
Yeah.
I want a normal alloy, standard colour.
The only real hint to the turbo lump is this intercooler, but you know it's been done subtly. You know he's painted it black and stuff, and
Black
it's not
pipes.
poking out too much.
Yeah.
Black silicone pipes. But yeah, other than that, you know, you wouldn't know, would you?
Underneath this bumper, there's like a plate. My mate Anthony welded it on for me, and then we just bolted that with the 3 bolts to the plate. We couldn't move it back because underneath here is like the bar.
Crash bar.
Yeah, but it's like built into the car. It doesn't unbolt.
Right.
So it's part of the car. It's like spot welded on. But when that bolts and the 3 bolts, if it goes back more, there's nowhere to get your hand in there and put the bolts in. On the crash bar, it's got some holes either side.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking about doing is welding them holes up, get a hole cutter, hole cut it 3 times, and then moving that back. Then I can put the bolts in. And then I'll get another bumper and I'll hide all of that.
Yeah. So it'd be even more stuff.
Yeah, so it'd be even more sleeper. Because there is supposed to be a grill under there.
Yeah. If you can hide that as well, that would be the ultimate.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate. It's got a Magnex Fiesta Turbo exhaust on it.
Right.
Middle and back. That had a 4-inch tube coming out.
Yeah.
Mate, he called it a boom tube.
Yeah.
Yeah? So what we've done is, we cut the boom tube off, and we bought some 90-degree stainless, and I've furred it up to where it's got to be, and then cut it so it goes sort of like that. But when you're behind it, it just looks like a black exhaust. It's like big exhaust coming out the back. So yeah, I've had loads of sleepers, man. I love them. It's getting a roof rack. I'll show you why. Because I had a Mark IV in blue, which I wanted another blue one, but I couldn't find one that was clean enough. That was my old one, and it's got a roof rack on it.
So yeah, roof rack coming soon.
Yeah.
This video's definitely been a bit of a mixed bag, but I'm very happy that I was able to help Gary get his Zetec Turbo 100E started, and I'm really happy that I finally got round to giving Maude, my Mk2 Escort, her repaint. A bit gutted about the issue with my dad's Mark III, which I'll let you know about in the next video, but it's nothing that can't be sorted, and I've actually already started contacting a certain someone who's going to be helping me solve the issue. Over the next week or so, I'm going to be going to the garage before work and on my breaks to start putting the work in to get Maude back together. Tomorrow morning, I'm actually going to pick up the LSD that has been rebuilt by Southern Axles. I'm thinking I might actually fit that to Esther temporarily though, because I want to check out how the RX-8 gearbox is with a 4.1:1 ratio diff. I've also got a couple of little issues that I want to look at on Esther, because in a couple of weeks I actually want to take her up to Northampton to visit my parents and take my dad for a rip. So for now, I'm going to end this video here. If you did think it was any good, please do give it a thumbs up and a share. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Click subscribe to keep up to date with all my future uploads, and check the links in the description to my social media and my website. I'll also leave my email address down there for anyone who wants to contact me. Massive shout to everyone who has shown interest in being on my club stand at Santa Pod in August. I'm pretty much certain that I'm going to be arranging that, so yeah, stay tuned to the channel for more details about that. But other than that, until next time, from me and my beautiful girlfriend Kat, thanks for watching.